Speaking of games coming down to kicks, Kansas City Chiefs 16, Denver Broncos 14. Chiefs move to 9-0, remain undefeated after blocking a 35-yard field goal to save their undefeated season.
Yeah.
Broncos fall to 5-5 in this one.
Crazy. I mean, Denver was the better team for the majority of this game. Like, they got out to an early lead. They were maintaining the lead. Kansas City got ahead. And then Denver executed the perfect game plan, right? Like, the problem is always how much time is too much time for Mahomes. And so far, the answer is at least 13 seconds. We know that for a fact. He's done it in 13 seconds. So anything more than that, you are at least in danger range of Mahomes doing something ridiculous and answering your score with a field goal and losing the game anyway. Denver did the thing. They took all the time off the clock. We executed the drive. We're in field goal range. We are going to leave you with no time. There will be zero time for you to attempt this comeback. It is a walk-off game kick, and the kick's blocked.
Yeah, which included the 3rd and 6 that Bo Nix converted. And that's, Spags, earlier in the game, they had a key 3rd down, and Spags, creates unblocked pressure, and they've got no chance. I thought Bo Nix overall played a great game, but he got sacked for like negative 33 yards on 2 plays because sometimes Spags just wins, man. And you have unblocked rushers and you have no answers and seemingly always calls the right play at the right time. We highlight this every single week, and I didn't even realize the stat that I just retweeted out there. The Chiefs have not allowed a single point while trailing in the 4th quarter this season, right? What does it feel like watching a Chiefs game? It's like when they don't let a team go up 2 scores on them. They don't let a team compound the lead on them. And you feel that, right? So they're up 16-14. I'm sorry. They make a big 3rd down stop the first time. And then Denver has this play, right? It's like if they have an opportunity for a long field goal and it's a low percentage field goal, and if they kick it, they'll go up 17-16, but you're going to leave the Chiefs a minute plus and you're probably going to end up losing. And they convert the 3rd and 6, kind of half roll the pocket. You don't have Chris Jones destroying the play, and you convert it to get into closer field goal range and the ability, the Chiefs are out of timeouts, the ability to just get it to the final play. And they set it up, and the Chiefs say, nope. Leo Chenal says, nope. Blocked field goal.
Leo Chenal, who was the other guy? 43 for for Kansas City. Leo Chenal and the other guy. They just ran right over the blocker on the line of scrimmage. Like, it wasn't one of those things where they had a complex kind of rush schemed up. They found a guy open. He leapt over the pile, whatever it was. Like, Chenal and someone else just bulldozed a blocker and reset him, just moved him back, and were able to get the block. Amazing play. Like, somebody needs to do a study of how kicks are being so blockable in today's NFL. It seems to have spiked through the roof. But that's just nuts. Like, it was done. The game was over if he simply makes the kick and 2 guys just take a blocker and run him over and end up blocking the kick and saving a win.
The other one of the key plays that got us here, the Chiefs were down 14-13. They're making their go-ahead drive. The last play of the go-ahead drive, Mahomes had Travis Kelce wide open in the end zone, airmails the throw, just completely missed him. Obviously, they would have gone up a score. They would have gone up 5 or 6, and then they would have gone up 5 and then gone for 2, right? So the Broncos probably should have needed a game-winning touchdown if Mahomes hits that throw. He misses it, right? So Denver had these opportunities. They made a lot of these opportunities. They made life difficult for Mahomes. They sacked him 4 times. They had a 5th sack in there, and I don't know if you saw that play. That was kind of they got to him almost immediately, and the illegal contact was called on the play. I actually watched the replay. I still haven't found where the illegal contact is. It was a wild play because the announcers even highlighted it's like there almost wasn't even enough time to have an illegal contact. Mahomes was sacked in like 2 seconds. That kept one of their drives alive. But the Denver did a really good job creating some pressure. Mahomes missed a few. He was a little off, and they had opportunities. And then, it was a blocked field goal.
It must have been Drew Tranquill who was the other player, based simply off the fact that he's the only guy I can find on defense who has a 3 in his number. I thought it was 43, but 43 doesn't seem to exist, so it must have been 23. Yeah, so Mahomes missed that play. Mahomes also missed a bomb to Xavier Worthy, which would have been a touchdown. Like, remember, there's been a couple of plays now where they haven't connected. Xavier Worthy screwed him on the last one. This one, Mahomes just let him off the field.
Maybe it's Mahomes, man.
Well, so
because MVS had the same, like, oh, they're just off.
The fact that the Chiefs are 9-0 is keeping everybody from this conversation of what is wrong with Patrick Mahomes this season to a degree. Like, he has not been playing particularly well. And so that's part of it. The record, the fact that they haven't lost is one thing. The other thing that's keeping people from that conversation is that the only player with a better passing grade on third down is Joe Burrow. So Mahomes is playing generally a shadow of himself this season. But on third down is still Patrick Mahomes.
Made
so
another
Chiefs,
ridiculous play on third down in this one.
Yeah.
Where he broke free from a sack and turned it into a 34-yard.
Right.
Yeah.
And so his passing grade on third down is second only to Burrow, and his rushing grade on third down is really high as well. Like, the Chiefs are basically the best third down team in the NFL on offense. And it's that, like, and that's a large part of that is Mahomes being Mahomes. This idea, the playoffs, the same thing. This idea that Mahomes is capable of simply turning it on when he needs to does appear to be borne out. Now it's not, I mean, it's late in games as well. They're getting it done, but it's like on the critical down. First and second down, it's not going that well. Third down, Mahomes clicks into gear and goes, okay, let's keep the chains moving, and finds a way of making it work. So it's this weird dynamic now where the offense still isn't in sync all the time. Mahomes still isn't playing particularly well overall, but when it matters, is still making the plays.
If it was any other team, we'd be looking at this saying, is the thing I tweeted out earlier today, the Chiefs are 9th in point differential in the league. 9th.
Right.
And they're 9-0. And the chart that I put out there from True Media, it was point differential correlated to win percentage. And it's almost a perfect line. Like, the teams, like the Lions are perfectly on the line. They've got the number 1 point differential and they're 8-1. Like, it's the right breakdown. But the Chiefs are the one biggest outlier there. And if they weren't the 2-time defending champs, and they didn't have Mahomes and Reed in this established baseline, we'd be saying, oh, they're lucky. We'd be talking about them like the Vikings of 22.
Yeah.
So going into this Bills game in particular, how much does this matter? The fact that they beat the Ravens by a toe out of bounds, the Bengals on a 4th and long pass interference, the Falcons with a 4th and 1 stop when the Falcons are in range and they've missed a touchdown opportunity, the Bucs in overtime where the Bucs could have gone for 2 but 1 play away from winning. We're talking about 4 or 5 plays here separating the Chiefs from 5 wins and 9 wins. Will that matter? And then the Broncos with the blocked field goal. Will that matter, going forward? Are they due, or is this just we're going to look back at all those plays and say that 17-0 Chiefs made all these plays and the other teams didn't? It's going to be fascinating to watch here in the second half.
I mean, I think in a way both things are true. I mean, clearly the Chiefs are flirting with losses too often and sooner or later you're just going to get unlucky on a play and it's going to bounce away from you instead of towards you, and you're going to lose that game. So I think they are due based off this season. They will lose one of these games at some point. But I also think that this team's ability to show up when it matters is real. I mean, that the previous history from Mahomes, Kelsey, and those guys in particular that have been there and done that before is too strong and too clear for it to be just variance. Like, I think they are genuinely capable of understanding situational football, knowing when the time is to make the play and making the play. Tom Brady was always good at this as well, right? That feeling late in the game where if you give him the ball with X amount of time on the clock, he will drive down the field and score, even if the game up until that point does not suggest that that's going to happen, right? Even if it's a random game where you've limited them to 17 points and they're struggling and they're not going well, if you give them the ball with 90 seconds on the clock, I'm still expecting him to score. This is Mahomes now. This is Tom Brady in his pomp. There's something to that. It's a real dynamic.
I agree. But in this particular game, Mahomes misses a wide open touchdown,
right?
And the Broncos miss a 35-yard
This one they should have
goal,
lost. I mean, they should have lost, like outright. You cannot rely on a blocked kick
the other thing to highlight here, the Chiefs have been so good through the years. Remember, they've very rarely been blown out. And how many times through the years have we said, well, the Chiefs beat themselves? They had multiple drops, or they had a key Chris Jones penalty, or they had a fumble, or they had special teams mishaps. They're not making those mistakes this year, or they're just far between, and they're not in the fourth quarter. They're not at the end of the game. So they to this point, they're not making the same mistakes that other teams are making.
This game, the Broncos just had them beat in a couple of one-on-one kind of matchups that was getting them ahead. Cortland Sutton was beating up on Trent McDuffie, and Trent McDuffie does not tend to get beaten up on by anybody. I mean, this was a really impressive performance from Sutton and from Bo Nix to exploit that. McDuffie was just wrecked a couple of times, gave up a touchdown, just gave up some plays to Cortland Sutton. That was really impressive. And then the other really big individual advantage that Denver found was Nick Bonito in particular was destroying Kansas City's left tackle, which ends up being Kingsley Suamataia.
Wanya Morris got hurt at one point. Then Suamataia comes in. Morris did come back at one point as well.
But Suamataia against Bonito in particular was the real matchup advantage. I mean, Bonito is, small, undersized, quick pass rusher. Suamataia is a sort of big project offensive tackle. And that one-on-one matchup was a massive problem for Kansas City at points in that game.
I thought there's no moral victories here. Denver, they're going to feel like they left one on the table. I think Sean Payton said this one stings. It's going to sting for a while. They should. I mean, look, they gave the Chiefs all they could handle last year.
Yeah.
Beat them once, and they did a nice job. Should have had a chance to win this game, obviously.
Payton's right. I mean, they're playing the Chiefs as well as anybody is. It's just that they're not good enough in every other game for it to matter. Like, if they were good enough that they had put themselves in a position to be like a playoff team, you would feel that Denver has as good a shot as anybody to upset Kansas City, even if they've got to do it on the road in the postseason. They're just not that good yet.
Yeah.
Not that good yet. They're not good enough to be a playoff team that's going to run into Kansas City in the postseason yet.
Anything else on this game?
Before
we get to the 4 p.m.s?
John Franklin Myers has shown up the last few weeks and started to make a bigger impact, which good development for Denver. Also sort of highlights this. I still don't quite understand why the Jets traded him away. Like, the Jets defensive line is lacking depth and could use a player like John Franklin Myers, and they traded him away before a season where they were clearly all in. And what difference does the future make? Like, I didn't understand the move at the time. I understand it even less now that he's making an impact somewhere else.
Early shots at the Jets, huh? We have time to take shots at them later.
Sure. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.